I played 100 days of Stardew Valley, and this time I added all the major map expansions. Well, kind of. I've excluded Zuzu City from this because we have of course had an in-depth look at this mod in the City Witch series. Link in the description for that, by the way. In this series though, we'll be playing with Stardew Valley Expanded again, but Ridgeside Village, East Scarp and Lunna Astray will all be new to me, and I couldn't be more excited to explore them. I am aware that there are a bunch more map expansions that I could have added, but I wanted to start with these long-time favourites for now. As usual, we'll actually be playing through the full first year, so you're really getting 112 days for the price of 100. And my only goal this time is to complete as much of the community centre as possible. I don't know if I can do the full thing because, me being me, I've added a little twist. Listen, did you really expect any different? Also, side note, I named this farm Dreamlight Farm because I'm a little bit obsessed with Dreamlight Valley at the moment. A full list of mods can be found in the description. Please leave a like if you enjoy 100 days content, but without further ado, let's begin. Day 1 started with the usual new save ritual of clearing some space on the farm for those first 15 parsnips. But then I noticed I had some mail already. This is from Eloise, who lives over in East Scarp, one of the many NPCs we're going to have to meet. But first, we got a little farming to do. With parsnips in the ground, I decided to make headway with all the introductions. We have got 70 people to get through after all. As I passed through the bus stop, I found out Lewis has a big sister called Lenny who lived in a place that we can access by cable car. This place would be Ridgeside Village, where Lenny was the chief administrator. I plucked all the nearby forage before starting those quick hellos. And when I got to Pierre's, I bought some of each seed for the community centre and for shipping. I found several new characters hanging out in town, then was met with disappointed in Cindersap Forest where I found exactly 0 spring onions. We'll blame Andy. I eventually looped back up to the farm to plant all those seeds, and when I went to get back to those introductions, I found this child all alone in town. I ignored that for now because it was back to meeting as many people as I could for the rest of the day. This was an exhausting day which reminded me to move my bed much closer to the door. Then I hit the hay to reach level 1 foraging. Clint was on my doorstep on day 2 about the furnace recipe. I skipped that cutscene to get Clint off my farm. Willie sent me a letter which reminded me there must be a few new fish in these mods, and to my horror there's an entire extra page. If you've even seen one of my Stardew videos, you know how I feel about fishing. I tended to the seedlings and found my first artifact, then made my way through the town to say hi to anyone new on my way to the beach to collect my fishing rod. No cutscene for me though. I took advantage of this bubble spot here for a bit, but once I hit level 1 fishing, I got bored of that and popped up to the library to donate my first couple of artifacts. I just really wanted that 250 gold. I met some new people whilst I was there, then it was back to Willie's to sell all my fish for money and space, but I somehow accidentally bought a trout soup when trying to exit that menu. It will probably come in handy later, but spending all that money at this point was a bit annoying. Thankfully, I did still manage to pick up a couple of extra seeds I couldn't yesterday. I did another spring onion check, but once again I found nothing. I think this was the worst spring onion start I've ever had. I wanted to confront Andy about stealing them all, but when I got there I chickened out and politely just said hi. That evening, I made my way into West Cindersap, and after several in-game hours of hunting, I eventually claimed the forest sword I was searching for. This will be a huge help in the early floors of the mines. On day 3, I made my first spring seeds and took advantage of the rain to plant them. I'm hoping these will go towards tea saplings soon. Today was Luna's birthday, so I got her a clover, and I finally found my first spring onions. And there were actually a decent amount of them. When I dumped these in my chest at home, UI InfoSuite told me I might need these for the community centre. I can't wait to find out what else we'll need. I used today to take the cable car and explore Ridgeside Village for the first time. I came across my first new forageables and went door to door looking for all the new townies to meet, and my goodness, the sheer amount of them here. I'm gonna have my work cut out for these friendships. There's even this mysterious dude Geo, not quite sure what's up with him, but since we have so many people to deal with, I mostly forget about him from this point. Especially because the next thing he did was demand me to get him some plum pudding. Absolutely not. Rude. And actually, it seems there are several people here who never learned good manners. With my social battery now drained for the day, I headed back to Pelican Town to do nothing but chop wood on my farm. On day 4, I trucked along with meeting the townies, making sure to drop off a daffodil to Caroline on the way. Seems I actually gave her a gift before I had a chance to introduce myself, which might have come across a little weird. I met another new person crossing Shearwater Bridge, and over the other side was East Scarp, another one of the expansions we'll be exploring. The buildings are adorable here, and look at this cat! Their name is Munchington? Oh my god, I'm obsessed. I got a cutscene in the main building here where I startled Rosa and she dropped her food. Not the best first impression. Turned out this building is the inn. The owners were away and Rosa was looking after it. I got in a lot of steps that day trying to find whoever else I hadn't met yet, and even got an official welcome to Ridgeside Valley. Lenny gave me a proper tour of the town, which on one hand probably could have been helpful yesterday, but on the other hand is a little bit of information overload, and honestly, I'm gonna forget most of this immediately. Another full day of socializing and exploration later, I was now only 9 people away from completing the quest. On day 5, Marnie was at my door with a stray cat. I took the fuzzball into my home and used the randomized names for inspiration to call our new friend Matcha. I harvested my first parsnips, and even though a couple had been robbed by crows, I still reached level 1 farming. I came away from my first visit to the travelling merchant with a wood skip for the community centre, but I didn't buy the pufferfish yet because I feel like these come up quite often. I had to chop a couple of trees for enough wood to make a chest before skipping the community centre cutscene, but I did forget to read the plaque on my way up to the mines. When I got there, I chucked everything I found in that chest I made, including the rusty sword from Marlon, because we have something better. I got to floor 10 that evening, gaining my first pair of boots, which I struggled to put on with my full backpack, but I did get there eventually. I had enough copper to craft my first furnace, but annoyingly, I didn't have a single piece of coal to smelt with today. Since we had a bit more time before bed, I did make sure to go read the plaque of gibberish whilst walking home for the night. On day 6, I checked my mail and sprinted straight to the wizards to get high. It's time to become one with the forest. I stopped in at the mines to pick up a horseradish I found yesterday, and took this along with some other forage over to Caroline to give her a spare daffodil, then over to the community centre to make my first donations. Here is where you see the twist. I've added a mod to require every single bundle from both the normal and the remixed ones, and some of these come with different rewards so we don't end up with duplicates. I added my spring forage to complete my first bundle, unlocking the pantry and the fish tank. Seeing some of these bundles was starting to worry me a little because some of the items were a little harder to deal with, and there were just so many of them. I couldn't even bear to look at the fish tank ones right now. I prioritised planting all those forage seeds I got as a reward because we'll be needing these for tea saplings, but I did have to run all the way back up to the mines because I forgot my hoe up there. I grabbed some more spring onions whilst I was out, and thankfully I still had enough time to plant the rest of the spring seeds in the dark when I got home. On day 7, I was pleased to find a small handful of crops ready, although I was slightly horrified at the growing amount of watering I'm going to have to do each morning. The travelling merchant was kind to me again today and brought me a sturgeon because there's no way I'll catch one this summer, or maybe even this year. It did mean spending nearly all my money though. I went to give Lewis a birthday gift, then realised I forgot to bring it with me. I ran back home to pick up a parsnip real quick because I didn't really have anything better. Even though it was a bad luck day, I still mined the afternoon away because I wanted to progress the floors. I called it a day on floor 20 where I got the steel small sword. This is still significantly worse than my forest sword, and it just ended up going in the bin because it's not worth much money anyway. On day 8, I accepted Clint's copper ore request because I planned to make this another mining day, but not before handing Caroline another daffodil. I managed to gather quite a bit of copper this day, but I ended up getting stuck on an infested floor 29 for ages because I couldn't find the last monster anywhere. Turns out it was a sneaky little duggy, so floor 30 is where we ended for the day, achieving mining level 2. On day 9, I took a break from mining to visit Ridgeside Village where I found a kiwi fruit sort of staring at me. It told me to shoo and promptly did a backflip and disappeared. What just happened here? I wanted to forage around the village, but I forgot that I was already carrying too much, so I only got like one thing. I brought the cherries to Caroline because it was better than the normal quality daffodil I was carrying, and now we're halfway to tea saplings. I donated several things to the museum, which I was intending to do first thing this morning, but clearly I forgot. Not only did this free up backpack space, but I also got some free cauliflower seeds. I got these situated on the farm right away, and spent a bit of time chipping away at farm clearance. With some of the wood I just chopped, I made a chest to keep my community centre donations safe, so we can't just accidentally use or sell them. It was already evening, so I just did a foraging loop of Cindersap Forest, including a visit to West Cindersap for even more goodies. On day 10, my first batch of forage was ready, and I was happy to be raking in some XP. I had to hike my way up to the mines to collect some coal to make a scarecrow. I can't believe it's taken me this long to protect my crops from thieves. I was doing really well at keeping up the gifts for Caroline. Too well apparently, because I already gave her 2 this week. I still spoke to her, so I got a few more friendship points at least, and speaking of gifts, Vincent got a daffodil for his birthday. I still hadn't met every NPC I needed to, and one of the people giving me the most trouble was Mr. Agua, though I know it's my own fault for only coming here when he's inaccessible to me. I'll get there. Eventually. Hopefully. I did manage to get over to the mansion, though I've got to say, most of the people here are pretty awful. Shame I have to make friends with these people for perfection. Also, you may notice some objects clip and flicker. I'm sorry about that, I have no idea how to fix it. If you do, please leave a comment down below and hopefully it can be fixed for the next video, because I just couldn't figure it out. My last order of business before bed was to replant the forage seeds I forgot to do this morning. I was grateful not to have to water those the next morning because it was raining on day 11. I retrieved Robin's lost axe, which I took back to her as soon as she opened, and claimed that 250 gold. From there, I headed up to Ridgeside Valley to meet rude little Louie and Tors, the most adorable little tortoise. Isabel got a mountain arugula for her birthday, and I finally got to meet Mr. Agua, who was very uninterested in me. I guess I'll be on my way, but first I managed to give him an adequate gift. I wasn't feeling an early night tonight, so I decided to mine the night away until I passed out on floor 37. On day 12, I had some breakfast because I woke up with low energy so I could get all of my crops watered. There were several things I could have bought from the travelling merchant this day, but I ended up going with the summer spangle because this is a love gift for Caroline, and I needed that recipe from her to be able to afford everything else I want to buy. I wanted to spend the day fishing, but then I realised I forgot my rod. That was over an entire hour wasted on going back for it, because when I got to the beach, I realised I actually wanted to buy myself a training rod to make levelling that little bit easier. I fished on the pier for the afternoon, and just before 5 PM I binned my bamboo pole and went back to Willie's to sell most of my catches to free up the backpack space. I fished through the sunset till I was pretty much out of energy, then chipped off all but what I'll need for the community centre. On day 13, I was pleased to see all those reward forage seeds ready to harvest. I also picked my first cauliflowers, so I made sure to save one for the community centre. It was now time for our first egg festival, and this time it was nice to actually be allowed to buy strawberries, so naturally I bought as many as I could afford. I took the time to say hello to everyone who made their way down here, then got myself ready for the egg hunt. What I didn't realise till I was actively hunting eggs was that this back bit up by the community centre had opened up, and this is where all the Ridgeside Village people were. No time to chat now though because the eggs were calling, and even with this many contenders taking part this year, I still won. So planting my strawberries that night felt extra sweet. On day 14, I harvested some rice I got the shoots for from the mines. After watering all of my crops, I paid Andy a visit at Fairhaven Farm. Apparently, he has some strawberry seeds to send my way, which was very kind of him. My next stop was the travelling merchant. Annoyingly, I forgot I had no money because today she was selling the red cabbage seed, so I'll have to find a way to make that money ASAP. I gathered some more spring onions before accidentally startling Sophia. Oh Sophia, I know how you feel, I'm sorry. She came out of hiding when she realised it was just me, and took me over to her storage chest to give me a welcome gift of a quality sprinkler. This was amazing because I can't unlock these till farming level 6, and if I want to later, I can order more from her too. I came straight home to place this on the farm, but in hindsight, I should have put it under the green bean to cover as many existing crops as possible. It then occurred to me that I had all of the spring crops for the community centre, so I dropped those off and claimed some speed grow, then donated what I had for the crab pot bundle, leaving one item left. Before I left, I had a quick check of the newly unlocked boiler room, and I was familiar with most of the bundles, except for the engineer's bundle, which is a little bit evil if you ask me. Iridium ore and a battery? I gave Caroline that summer spangle from the other day, which got her to 2 hearts. I wasted no time in barging into the tea room and skipping that weird cutscene. The tea sapling recipe wasn't going to arrive till tomorrow though, so I sold off some of the spare spring seeds straight to Pierre because I wasn't letting that red cabbage seed get away. I put the speed grow I just got on as many strawberries as I could. Then I decided to explore the foresty area, Ridgeside Village, which also has forageables that make good gifts. Some of these are even love gifts for residents here. I passed by the village square to pick up the latest quest. These are great because they don't have an expiration date, so we can take as long as we need to get the item, or until we remember to do it. On day 15, I received those strawberry seeds from Andy, as well as the all-important tea sapling recipe from Caroline. This is where the real money making begins. I also got 500 gold from my dad, which was helpful, and some unsolicited advice from Granny Evelyn. I ended up storing those seeds in a chest till next spring because I'll profit more from them next year. I spent some time hacking away at fibre on the farm, then since it was now salmonberry season, I munched one of these flowers from Ridgeside Village because it gives +1 foraging, in the hopes that it would help me gather more salmonberries, but this wasn't really enough because at my current foraging level, I'd still be gathering 2 berries per bush. With energy being a constant struggle, I hunted down every bush I could, but when the day was over, I don't feel like I got that many berries. A disappointing start. Day 16 was to be another full day of salmonberry picking, though I did find Lunna having a nap in the forest and dreaming about food. Poor woman was really embarrassed when she realised I heard the whole thing. It made her feel sort of strange, so I just said everyone has their own strange side. I mean, I know I definitely do at least, and that seemed to make her feel much better. She must have had that dream because she was hungry, so I accompanied her to town to get some food. I'd taken every berry from every bush by the afternoon, so I came home to chop wood, which meant I could craft my first 18 tea saplings. But I did end up keeping 3 to replant and grow into my own tea. Shipping the rest of these meant I made 12.5 grand that night. Honestly, these are a real game changer. It was still salmonberry season on day 17, so that was my plan for the day. I noticed Olivia was in need of a farm fresh parsnip. That would be a nice easy quest to accept. I didn't rush home for it though, because nothing was more important than those salmonberries. Every bush was now empty, so I spent this evening progressing the mines because I was hoping to have sprinklers soon, and for those, I'll need to get to the iron floors. I got to that point just before 8 PM, then the rest of the night was just resetting through floor 41 to gather as much iron as I could. I did end up leaving with enough time for bed though, because I didn't feel like taking that pass out penalty. Overnight I got level 2 farming, which is why I was in such a rush for iron, and as a bonus, I got level 2 combat. On day 18 I was greeted with the next big batch of forage. Now that I was getting different qualities of forage, I was having to run back and forth to deposit stuff in the chest because of my stupidly small backpack, so naturally, the next thing I did was go to Pierre's to buy a bigger one. It was time for my first tool upgrade, and I went for the copper pickaxe so that I could speed up my ore gathering. Then I handed off 2 parsnips, one for Pam's birthday, and the other to Olivia for that quest, though I did have to wait outside her room for a while because I couldn't disturb her while she was painting. I only had enough iron bars for one lonely sprinkler because I wanted to save the other for the community centre, and since it was now afternoon, I thought I'd better go into the Adventurers Guild to get that initiation over with. I took loads of stuff over to the community centre this evening, but not enough to actually complete any of the bundles. Still, progress is progress. Then, I rounded off the day by picking the last salmon berries of the year. On day 19, I got a request from Jody for a cauliflower. I didn't have many, but I could spare one for a villager in need. Being a Friday, I needed to check the travelling cart, and this week she brought me a purple mushroom and a fiddlehead fern. I know summer's just around the corner for the fiddlehead, but I couldn't guarantee I was going to have my axe upgraded to get to the secret woods where they grow in time. I also didn't want to exploit the chair skip in this playthrough. I felt like my farming XP progress was slower than I'd have wanted, so I popped into Pierre's for 25 potato seeds. I dropped off that cauliflower on my way home, then got those potatoes going, though I do wish I left space for sprinklers for when I do have more. For the rest of this day, I did nothing but chop farmwood, including all of those stumps we left at the beginning. That night, I got level 5 foraging, choosing the gatherer profession, and made 10,000 gold from tea saplings. This meant on day 20, Demetrius was at my door to talk to me about the farm cave. Since we're going the community centre route, I chose fruit bats to help with the artisan bundle. After giving everything a good water, I was just in time for Clint's shop opening so I could collect my copper pickaxe before he could even get behind the counter. Shane just got a salmonberry for his birthday because I forgot I was allowed to buy the beer and pizza he probably would have liked better. Then since I could mine again, this was a day of gathering coal and iron for sprinklers, and I also managed to get down to floor 45, sort of by accident. Before leaving the mines that night, I could make 7 sprinklers, which will be a huge help. On day 21, I accidentally destroyed a potato when trying to zoom my game back in, so I shoved a sprinkler in its place, and added some others wherever else I could. The other exciting thing this morning was my first strawberries having come to fruition. I also planted a couple of coffee beans I got from the mines the night before. At the travelling cart today was an early starfruit seed, a sandfish for the speciality fish bundle, and a juice for the brewers bundle. An incredible little haul. The rest of this day and the next few days were for the most part spent mining for sprinklers. At least I think they were, because days 22 to 26 kinda got corrupted. I think this is the worst amount of days I've had corrupted, like, ever. But hey, look how many sprinklers we now have on day 27. I probably did do a couple of other things on those days, but now we'll never know. And this morning was filled with even more mining for sprinklers in prep for summer. For the most part, that was also just passing time till I could give Emily a birthday gift when she got to the saloon. I must have also reached level 4 farming in that time because today I made my first preserves jars. My strawberry plants were now done for the year, so I used this evening to rearrange the sprinklers so they were ready for the new season. Day 28, the last day of spring, began with a trip to the travelling cart where I bought a nautilus shell and a battery pack for the community centre. She's being very kind to me in this series. I finally got around to clearing out most of the stone from this area of the farm, which got me to level 5 mining. I had a few errands to run today, starting with a copper bar for Marlon. Then I needed to head up to Ridgeside Village to hand out a couple of birthday gifts, but when I got to the cable car I got this cutscene. Turns out Sean is trans, and he was explaining this to some of the kids here using a description of a princess turned prince, and I love this. It's so lovely to see the representation, and just the way that the people who make these mods think about adding NPCs that are inclusive. It took me quite a bit to find everyone I needed for the birthdays and quests here, but I found everyone eventually. Only problem was I couldn't get into Bert's room with his gift, so I sat outside his door for hours, and luckily he did make his way out before he went to bed. I did a bit of foraging just north of the village before going to bed myself. For level 5 mining, I chose the miner profession. Looking at the footage of me prepping my field on day 29 made me realise I must have got my first ancient seeds in the days that got corrupted. Look at that adorable little sprout. I planted the seeds I already had from the museum and the travelling cart, then at Pierre's I bought a few of each seed for shipping and the community centre. Then I wanted to fill the rest of the space with blueberries. I returned to the farm to get these all planted, and any remaining space will be saved for summer forage seeds. Speaking of summer forage, that was what I spent my evening looking for. Unfortunately, I didn't find a single grape, so for what was left of the night, I switched my focus to wood chopping. I was relieved to have no watering to do on day 30, and apparently the road up to the train station will soon be cleared. I took some wood to the beach to repair that bridge because I needed some items here for the community centre, such as the coral for the summer forage bundle, and thankfully I did manage to find some grapes. I gave Lola a sweet bee for her birthday, but I didn't stay at Ridgeside too long because I wanted to complete the summer foraging bundle, which unlocked the bulletin board where I left 10 salmon berries for the children's bundle. Nope, those are summer seeds. There we go. I had a quick peep at the other bundles whilst I was there, and I think I've seen all of these before at some point. I really didn't want to give up another 50 salmon berries for the foragers bundle, but I know it'll be worth it in the end. Back on the farm, I filled any open sprinkler spots with those forage seeds, and I had to set up some new spots, leaving room for future sprinklers, but I'll just have to water these myself for now. I was making use of any time left by chopping trees that night when I found this weird little secret passage from one side of my farm near to the south entrance. I've played this map before and never knew it was here. Did you know about this? Does it go anywhere else? Why didn't you tell me? On day 31, Susan was at my door to introduce herself now that she was no longer trapped by that rock slide. My first coffee beans were ready, so I kept most of them for next year and sold one for the shipping completion. Being a great luck day, it would have been rude not to visit the mines, especially since I was short of sprinklers at the moment, and by the end of the day I managed to make 3 more. On day 32, I spent way too much money on wood from Robin and harvested fruit from the Batcave for the first time. That afternoon was pretty much a repeat of yesterday in the mines, and today I reached floor 60 to receive the crystal dagger, and made enough sprinklers to cover the rest of my crops. On day 33, I was greeted by my wheat. And coffee as well, but that didn't quite have the same ring. I bought a single coconut from the travelling merchant for the community centre, and with the donations chest filling up, I decided this will be a good time to do a mass drop-off. On my way through the bus stop though, I found this couple who seemed lost after being away from here for a long time. I led Malaya and Kimpoi back to the cable car where we bumped into Olga and Bert. Seems it's been so long that these siblings almost didn't recognise each other, and by siblings I mean Kimpoi and Olga. I think they were trying to hide something though, because Olga was promptly stopped from saying too much. Maybe we'll find out their secret in time. We all took them back to reunite with their daughter Alyssa, who was really happy to see them. Aww. I pulled myself together and returned to Pelican Town to make those community centre drop-offs. I managed to complete the exotic foraging bundle, which rewarded me with some Autumn's bounty, but more importantly, we unlocked the vault room. I also completed the Adventurers bundle, earning me a magnet ring, and bought the cheapest vault bundle in return for some chocolate cake. Kimpoi was waiting on my doorstep when I got home. I wonder how long he's been there. But anyway, he was here to tell me he was reopening the seed shop on Nightingale Orchard, which will sell exotic fruit trees, so we'll probably be needing these for perfection. Now that we were making progress on the vault, I realised I really needed to make more progress towards the Skull Key because it would really suck if I earned all that gold to repair the bus, then couldn't even get into Skull Caverns. So after a whole afternoon of mining, I ended my night another 10 floors down on 70. On day 34, I got my first hot peppers of the year. I shipped one and saved one for the community centre, but the rest I kept because these are loved gifts for a few villagers here. To help speed up my mine's progress, I asked Clint to upgrade my pickaxe. Then I came home to place a few more preserves jars and started cleaning up this second animal pen. I wasn't planning to use it for a long time, but the mess was bothering me. All that tree chopping meant I now had enough sap to complete the sticky bundle, the reward for which was some tree fertilizer. I wanted to be polite and say hi to Flor as I passed her in town, and she responded by saying I have too much time on my hands? Ma'am, I'm single-handedly trying to restore a derelict old community centre to its former glory for the good of the town. How freaking dare you? What the f***? I used that tree fertilizer on some acorns I'd planted, as this was going to be my little oak resin farm. I then ran a topaz over to Andy that he asked for on the bulletin board because he needed it today. On this night, I unlocked the lightning rod, which was perfect timing for storm season, and then I made 7.5 grand from tea saplings and a little bit more gold from some other bits. On day 35, I bought a pufferfish from the travelling car because I can't be bothered to catch one myself yet. I also bought a rare seed because I couldn't remember if I'd bought any yet. I ended up making this a fishing day because there are some community centre fish I must catch this season, and at level 3, my fishing level could do with some help. Once I caught everything I needed, I dropped into Willie's to sell off some excess fish, then bought some ice cream on my way to the museum where I dropped off any new artifacts I caught. I also took today's fish to the community centre, and now the only thing I need for the ocean bundle is some rain to catch the red snapper. I was on a roll with the fishing today because I also caught the remaining fish I needed for the lake fish bundle. I got to take home a dress spinner, which I won't be able to use for a while. Day 36 began with some farm clearance, and then I dropped an amethyst to Gus for his birthday since I didn't have any actual love gifts. I said a quick hello to Lunna on the beach, and fished over there for a little while, leaving enough time for a foraging loop of cindersap forest, except I didn't find a single thing. I forgot to record a bit of day 37, but I harvested my forage and collected my steel pickaxe from Clint's. I thought this was a genius idea to remind me of what happened. I went to find Olga with a birthday green bean, then checked out the orchard shop to find several saplings that were new and exotic, but I can't really afford them right now, so we'll have to handle this another day. Back on the farm, I cleared up this little path because over here is a secret cave that I didn't know about last time I used this map, but in here are some extra ores and stuff, so I'll have to remember to check this every now and again. Since I now had the upgraded pickaxe, I then got rid of any other large rocks from around the farm, and was delighted to find an orange for the artisan bundle whilst I was over here. For level 5 farming, I chose the tiller profession. Then on day 38, I harvested my red cabbage ready for the community centre. I handed a little gift to Susan to get the friendship started, then stopped in at Robin's to ask for a fish pond because I'll need this for the fish farming bundle. Whilst I was there, I gave Maru her birthday gift, then spent the remainder of the daylight hours farming for copper and fibre in the mines, and for the night, I switched to iron and coal. On day 39, I put some tappers on my fully grown oak trees and got some potatoes pickling. It took me an absolute age to say hi to everyone who attended the luau. Then I dropped in a gold quality cauliflower into the pot, which made for an incredible soup. On day 40, I had a few crops to harvest before adding a little path around the tree farm to help stop it spreading. I completed the crab pot bundle when I was doing a mass drop off at the community centre, and also completed the garden bundle which got me my first bee house. When I got back outside, I had a nice long chat with Demetrius about the history of Stardew Valley and space and stuff. Then I took a trip over to East Scarp to chat with a little duck friend and give the lovely Lexi an ice cream for her birthday. She then showed me a dead plant she'd tried to grow but couldn't understand why it died. There were a couple of good bits of advice I could have given her, but for now I started with the salt water. It's the only water she could get at the moment, so she just asked me to bring her a plant that will grow in a cave at some point, because plants are good for the earth and good for the soul, and I couldn't agree more. Out on the beach, I accidentally found out you can swim in the sea here, which will restore energy. My next stop was all the way up in Ridgeside Village with a birthday gift for Faye. It then suddenly occurred to me that I hadn't checked the travelling cart yet today, and I'm so glad I did, or I'd have missed out on this truffle. Then, before going to bed, I managed to make 12 grands worth of tea saplings. On day 41, my first melons were ready. I replanted a few immediately from seeds sent from Susan, and filled the rest of the spaces with mixed seeds for now. I had a couple of birthdays to handle, starting with Kiara, and I pressed my face up against the glass of her home until they opened, but when I got upstairs, she was inaccessible in her room, and I had no idea when she was going to come out, so I headed back to the valley to drop off Alex's gift for now. From there, I headed to the rainy beach to collect the abundance of shells for crab mating season. Then I caught the rainy weather fish I needed for the community centre, but when I was aiming for the catfish, I realised this wasn't the right location in the expanded version. I'll handle that another time. Instead, I completed the ocean fish bundle and donated the shads for the quality fish and the river fish bundle. I'd also fished up a ruby, which meant I could complete the treasure hunters bundle, and whilst I was there, I bought the 10,000 gold bundle, which got me a solar panel. I couldn't believe my eyes, this is a massive win. The 5k bundle got me some quality fertiliser, which was a little less exciting. When I got home that night, I noticed my fish pond was now built, so I gave one of my rainbow trout a home. No idea how this thing is still alive. Then I went to bed to pick the fisher profession for level 5 fishing. Day 42 was the day of my first blueberries. So satisfying. I rescued little Jazz who got lost in the forest, then came away empty-handed from the travelling cart. On this day, I completed the children's bundle, which got me 3 batteries, and with a fresh blueberry, we could now complete the summer crops bundle. I was happy to receive another quality sprinkler. Willie was waiting for me on the farm, spouting some rubbish about fishing, but I wasn't really listening because I was more excited about my new sprinkler. I went for a visit to Ridgeside where I got this cutscene with Isabel at the hotel. I wanted to become close with this character and told her she was welcome to visit the farm with her grandfather, but then she said I was a little too kind? I'm so confused. I don't want to be friends with someone I have to be rude to earn their respect. I wouldn't want her being rude to me. Anyway, I gave Flora an ice cream for her birthday, then I trekked up to the mountain lake to spend the afternoon fishing. Am I feeling okay? Just kidding. I was only here because I needed a gold quality largemouth bass for the community centre, which I wasted no time in donating. I somehow caught a sturgeon in that fishing sesh, so I switched out my fish pond to these because we'll be needing some caviar later. Then I had to balance out all that fishing with some therapeutic deforestation. On day 43, I collected all the gifts from the bats, which had a few things I needed for bundles. I was then back to making progress in the mines because it had been a while, and after a long day of grinding, I passed out all the way down on floor 93. That's almost 20 floors. On day 44, I harvested a load of forage, which I replanted, then delivered Lenny a hot pepper for her birthday. Makes sense that she has this in common with Lewis. With that over with, I was back on the mines grind again. I snacked on a star drop on floor 100, then called it a day on floor 105 to hang out by the furnaces for some smelting. On day 45, I picked and replanted one of my sunflowers, but left the other to continue producing more valuable honey. I found the weirdest request on Ridgeside Village's bulletin board. Kiahi was asking for a bomb? I accepted it for now, but I don't know if I should really oblige. The citizens will be concerned. We'll think about it. I came to chat to Freddy about all the void spirits I'd slain, and the reward for this was 3,000 gold. The fact that the board quests don't expire here is great because I'm pretty sure I accepted this in my first week. I rode the cable car back down to town, then I was in for yet another afternoon in the mines. But this time, I actually reached the bottom and collected that skull key. I thought I could do all of that and make it home in time for bed, but I ended up passing out on the farm. Day 46 started with a sizable harvest, followed by getting this cutscene with Kiwi in the library. I was here because I had a few things to donate from all that mining, which earned me a new reward, but it was just a painting. I came to relax with some foraging by Ridgeside Village since I'd not picked up this season's forage here, and because some of these make great gifts for the sheer amount of birthdays. And speaking of birthdays, today is Kenneth's, but I already brought a strawberry with me for him. Back on the farm, I got around to making several quality sprinklers to add to the field, which for now will just add to the basic ones to give me more crop space. My evening passed in the community centre where I completed the blacksmith bundle and the field research bundle, as well as making several other donations, and by the time I got home, I had another batch of jelly ready to change out. On day 47, I bought a couple of pomegranates from the travelling merchant for shipping and the community centre, which meant I can complete the artisan bundle. I was so excited to get my first keg, but in these modded bundles, I was so disappointed to find out the reward was an oil maker. Sure, I'll need it later, but for now, this was absolutely rubbish. It was Demetrius's birthday today, but before I had a chance to give him a gift, he got weird with me about potentially ruining his daughter's life. I went along with his lie when Maru came back inside because I couldn't be bothered with the drama. That was really awkward, so I just handed off that gift and got an apology from him, then left as quickly as I could. I found Clint up by the railroad, just kind of staring at a rock. Lewis hired him to blow up this boulder, but obviously it's going to be me who gathers the materials he needs. I paid Susan a visit whilst I was nearby before buying the final bundle in the vault room, which rewarded me with a crystallarium, and means that's our first entire room complete. I came back up to the mines to smelt some quartz, and headed home for an early-ish night because I was really excited about the bus repair. On day 48, I went straight to Clint's as soon as he opens to find out what I'll need for that explosive, which will basically just be a bunch of coal and iridium ore. But now I needed his services to open a buttload of geodes. After a certain amount of donations, Gunther will become a friendable NPC, so I'll need to free him from behind that desk as soon as possible. And with a couple of rounds of geodes and donations, I got all these rewards. Not gonna lie, I pretty much just dumped all the furniture items wherever they fit. Then I hung out in the mines on the hunt for copper, fibre, iron and coal. On day 49, the travelling merchant tried to sell me a cart full of pure disappointment. A duck somehow spoke to me, but I ignored that because I was really looking for Ideen. But first I found this empty house. Whose home is this? I can access the bedroom. Can I use this? I'm really confused. Anyway, I gave Ideen some corn because it was yellow like her hair. Then I took the bus to the desert to introduce myself to Sandy and trade my jades for staircases. It wasn't ideal conditions today, but I couldn't help an initial run of Skull Caverns. I wasn't going to deal with the first floor being a spiral floor, so I gave it a quick reset. I didn't expect to get anywhere decent with this today, I was just happy to be here. I should have come better prepared though, because I died on floor 34, but my losses could definitely have been worse. I actually went because I was hoping just to get one single piece of iridium ore to donate to the community centre, but I didn't find a single node. On day 50, Mr. Key challenged me to something I've already done. I look forward to my reward, sir. I dealt with my next big harvest, and then since it was a great luck day, I irritated Pam so she would speed off to the bus stop because today I wanted to try Skull Cabins again, and this time I got the iridium I needed really early on. I reached level 8 mining, scored a dino egg, and had a couple of near misses. It was setting up to be a much more successful day, except I died again. This time, I lost quite a few more things, so I'll have to make a decision about what to rescue. On the bright side, I didn't lose the iridium ore, so that went into completing the engineer's bundle, which granted me a lightning rod. Even better, I also got a fire quartz, which went into completing the geologist bundle. This only got us 5 omni geodes, but we did now complete the entire boiler room. Bring on those minecarts! On day 51, I got the reward in the mail from Mr. Key for my performance in Skull Cabins. Hopefully he doesn't know I died both times I went. I gathered up my next batch of forage, but I didn't replant because it's now too late in the season. I gave Clint my business by buying some coal from him, though not very much because it was kind of expensive, but I needed it to quickly smelt some stuff. I had a chat with everyone at the exercise class, but I didn't take part because I get enough steps in running around all the villages every single day. From that smelting earlier, I managed to make a few more sprinklers in prep for fall. That afternoon, I brought a gift to Victor over at Shearwater Bridge, then hung out there for a couple of hours trying to get some new fish, but honestly, these were all still a little bit too difficult for my lack of skill. I ended up taking a sunset dip in the ocean to de-stress, then came home to sell all my catches. On day 52, I dealt with a little mini harvest before setting off a new batch of jelly. I went all the way to East Scarp in the rain to give my best little duck some grapes. Then it was over to Robin's to ask her to build me a silo in prep for animals. I bought a bunch more wood whilst I was there, then took the rest of this day to mine for gold and farm for more fibre. But when I went to hit the hay, my cat was in the way. Luckily, I could just move the bed. On day 53, I used a lot of that wood I bought to make 36 tea saplings. I wanted to make more, but I ran out of fibre. This'll still get us a good amount of cash though. I then collected my salmon berries from the mail and harvested the next few crops. I brought a couple of things from my chests over to the museum but didn't get any new rewards, and now that Clint's was open, I could collect my copper axe, which I don't even remember sending for an upgrade. I collected a lot of this fibre here en route to Ridgeside Village because today was Mr. Agua's birthday, so I gave him a gift to match his hair and he loved it. For some reason, I tested my new axe out on the nearest trees in the village. Then I found out that Mr. Agua was asking for another aquamarine. We literally just gave him one. I'll still give him another one at some point. I came home to chop down even more trees and used the resources I gathered today to make another 16 tea saplings before returning to farm cleanup. It was another rainy blueberry harvest on day 54. With the silo now complete, I asked Robin to build me a coop because it was now almost full and I still didn't have any animals. I cut down loads of grass to get some hay ready, then brought George a hot pepper for his knee, even if I did almost eat it right in front of him. I imagine that would have gone down well. Continuing with the errands, I gave Mr. Aguar another aquamarine. Then I came back to the farm to prepare this pen for future friends. On day 55, Lina sent me a Mackie roll in the mail, which was a huge win because I needed this for the community centre. I spent a portion of the day doing some fishing. Then I had a couple of birthdays to handle, starting with Jacob over in East Scarp and Malaya who was hanging out in the library. I fished in Cindersat Forest this evening, though gonna be honest, I don't exactly remember what I was trying to catch, and I doubt I'd be fishing for no reason, but at some point today I did unlock level 6. Day 56 began with the final harvest of the season. Just a small one. The travelling merchant brought nothing useful again, then I placed 3 more sprinklers for the new season. I just installed the visible fish mod because I was really struggling with the what, when and where of all the new fish in these mods, plus it just brings so much more life to the water. I was still struggling with the fish at Shearwater Bridge, so I left that for now and fished up at Ridgeside Village instead, where I had a much easier time. I wasn't going to fish the entire day though, so I balanced it out with some foraging. It was then time for the Dance of the Moonlight jellies, where I bought the seafoam pudding for sale there, stopped to talk to literally everyone, then relaxed on the pier and enjoyed the show. On day 57, Richard was waiting at my door. Doesn't he know this is the busiest time of the season? He was here to tell me that there'll be musical entertainment up at the hotel. I ignored this because I play with the music off. I started getting the field ready whilst waiting for Pierre's to open, then went there via the community centre because I wanted to complete the rare crops bundle using an ancient fruit I just got. The reward for this was a garden pot. This is huge because you usually can't get these without unlocking the greenhouse, which requires every pantry bundle to be completed. I'd also picked up a hazelnut on the way, which meant I can complete the full foraging bundle. I'll always be happy to take some forage seeds. Like previous seasons, I bought a few of each seed for shipping in the community centre, then for our money makers, I chose a load of cranberries and pumpkins. I ran back home and it literally took me the rest of the day to finish setting up the new sprinklers and getting everything planted. On day 58, I watched Robin fixing up the special order board in town and was delighted to see community cleanup offered right off the bat. I fished in town for a bit to get the catfish whilst waiting for Penny to exit her room so I could give her a birthday gift. I then fished outside Jodie's for the entire day hoping to catch the tiger trout, which I didn't get today, but at least I pulled up the walleye, which I actually needed 2 of. This meant I could complete the quality fish bundle for a quality bobber, and I made a couple of other drop-offs before I left. I wanted to see if I could catch the trash from this fountain here, but all I kept getting was wood, so for now I went home to bed. On day 59 I grabbed the battery from my solar panel, then waited outside Marnie's for a shop to open because I wanted to buy some chickens. I called one Merlin and the other Goofy. Can you see we're going for a theme here? I was on my way up to Ridgeside Village because it was Richard's birthday when I found some villagers fixing up their own special orders board. Copycats. Like, it even refreshes on the same day. I delivered some materials to fix up the Ridgeside minecarts, then fished for the evening in the mines towards the community cleanup quest. I even had enough time to drop it all off at the recycling bin and collect the reward, and since I was passing it, I actually remembered to clear out the fruit cave. On day 60, I gratefully received the fiber seed recipe in the mail, so I spent the entirety of this day slashing fiber in the mines for mix seeds, but even then I only got 14. It'll still make for a good start though, because this made us 56 fiber seeds. In that process, I got level 7 combat, and we made a lovely amount of gold from tea saplings that night. On day 61, I planted the fiber seeds on the empty sprinkler spots to hold them for when I need them, and planted the remaining seeds underneath because they don't need watering. I picked up some wool from the travelling cart as well as some large milk for the community centre. I took a rare trip to Willie's shop to buy the seaweed salad and the iridium rod, then picked up a buttload of forage on the beach. I suddenly realised I never opened the coop or put hay in the feeders. I am so glad animals don't die in this mod pack, but hey, it's been handled now. I harvested my bok choy before leaving today's travelling cart finds at the community centre, along with 5 gold quality corn. I then went out for some foraging and was astonished to see Linus waste a perfectly good plum. It's one thing if he just got to it before me, but stamping on it? That's just rude. Back on the farm, I cleared out more of the chicken pen, then remembered I could now access the section with the greenhouse. So I cleared out the stumps and happily picked up all the fibre. Then I carried on clearing the rest of the farm. On day 62, I pet the little chicks, then made myself some trap bobbers for my iridium rod because today, I was going fishing. I successfully caught the angler, our first legendary fish of the save, then it took me another few hours in game to finally hook that tiger trout. I took advantage of my fishing mood and took the bus to handle some desert fish, but first I drop into Sandy's store to buy some beet seeds for Lewis's fridge and recipes and stuff. I caught a whole bunch of sandfish, but what I was really looking for was the scorpion carp for the master fish bundle. Only problem was, I am no master, so I failed at this today. I just came home to fill any open spots with beet seeds, then cried myself to sleep. On day 63, I hunted Rosa down with an ice cream for her birthday, then it was back to the desert because I was determined to get that scorpion carp today, and after a little bit of a fight, I was triumphant. I rode that confidence to catch the lava eel and a ghostfish, though obviously the ghostfish is significantly easier to catch. I took all 3 to the community centre to complete the master fish bundle for a curiosity lure, the river fish bundle which got me some bait, and the speciality fish bundle rewarding me some dish of the sea. I was pleased with my progress, but there was no time to rest because tonight I was to farm for iron and coal. On day 64 my cranberries came to fruition. Here's to that first satisfying harvest of the season. My forage also grew in, so I picked all of that up to turn back into seeds to replant for another batch. I shipped off some of the silver and gold milkshakes. Wait, milkshakes? What? What was I doing when I wrote this? I shipped off some silver and gold cranberries and some amaranth too, but I kept the rest for processing or recipes. I chopped down some more farm trees that grew and collected up the ores from my secret cave whilst I was up there. With what I just chopped down, I now had enough wood to build a barn, and this time I placed it by the coop because I'm planning to use the southern fenced area for more crops instead. This day marks the start of blackberry season, so I munched an autumn's bounty and got to picking, though to be honest, at my current foraging level, I'm not sure the food made any difference. It was a new week, so I picked up a new special order from the board. An easy choice, anything to avoid fishing. I took some amaranth to Marnie for her cows, then I continued foraging berries in the forest for the evening, though I did end up also going to check out the newly restored minecarts in Ridgeside Village before bed. That night I got level 8 farming, so soon it'll be keg time. Day 65 was a max luck day, so I skipped the berry picking in favour of a Skull Caverns run. I intended to put the effort in to not skip the prehistoric floor this time because getting more dino eggs and fiddleheads would be great, but I promptly changed my mind. Screw that. I successfully made it through to 2 AM this time, bagging 50 iridium ore and a bunch of other treasures, and I unlocked the crystallarium. Day 66 was another full day of berry picking, but I also made sure to drop off the explosive ingredients for Clint, complete the construction bundle for a charcoal kiln, return Linus's berry basket to him, and have a rainy chat with Lunna. As usual, I ended up saying the wrong thing because I innocently asked where she was from, and this seemed to kind of upset her. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to pry. Well, that went well. On a better note, I completed the wild medicine bundle in exchange for some cookout kits that I'll probably never use, and the foragers bundle which got me a few tree tappers I'll have to find a spot for. On day 67 I made my first 7 kegs, and for now these will just go down the side of the house. The first thing I placed in them was some hops because pale ale doesn't take all that long to brew. I rode the minecarts to Clint's to buy some coal and to ask him, at long last, to upgrade my axe to steel for me. Then I brought a chocolate cake to Jodie for her birthday. It was the last day of blackberry season, so I thought I'd better make the most of that, which meant I ended this berry season with over 200 blackberries. Those will help me with the ore grind for this night, which I'll be needing for more kegs. On day 68 I harvested my first beets and all of my fibre before shopping at the travelling cart for an egg and the snowman rarecrow because it's cheaper here than the Festival of Ice. I picked up my first Ridgeside special order and went with the delivery one because I think that'll be quicker, and these ones do actually have deadlines. June got a coffee bean for his birthday, then I spoke to Pika to pick up the dishes to deliver. I decided to handle these right away, which ended up being a really easy quest, but Pika was now ignoring me so I couldn't give him the good news. Whatever, I'm just going to gather copper and mix seeds in the mines instead. On day 69 I received payment for those deliveries in the mail, so I guess this is how we get payment for the Ridgeside Village special orders. I harvested my next round of cranberries, then caught Abigail on the way out of her room with a birthday amethyst. I feel like I'm doing well with the birthdays in this playthrough. On this fine Saturday, I asked Robin to upgrade my house because I'm gonna need a kitchen for the community centre, then replenish some of my cash by completing Marlon's crafting quest, which got me 8 of the 10 grand back. When I got back outside, I immediately started topping up on wood again, but I got a bit impatient and just ended up buying some more. Then I took that long walk back down the hill to go to Marnie's to buy my first cows. Their names will be Mickey and Minnie, and don't worry, I did not forget to feed these two. For the rest of the night, I chopped down farm trees, and having shipped various things throughout the day, I made over 22,000 gold. On day 70, I got to pick all of my pumpkins, and I started making some tea for the brewer's bundle and coffee for gifts. I replanted my remaining forage seeds in the open spots, then I wanted to buy some more seeds from Pierre's, but when I got there, I got roped into a game of Journey of the Prairie King with Abigail. I'm terrible at this game, but I'll give it a go. I fought as hard as I could, and somehow, this time, we actually did it. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure this might be the first time I've succeeded at this. That's my game break over with, so I bought the grass starter recipe, then replenished my pumpkin seeds. Of course, I didn't go home without completing the full crop bundle in the community centre, and the reward for that was my first seed maker. I got those pumpkin seeds replanted, but because I didn't pre-plan, I didn't buy enough, so I had to run for a second trip to Pierre's before he closed. Out of the way, Susan. With the crops now sorted, I ran an eggplant over to Ian for his birthday before the day was over, and shipped off 20 more tea saplings for profit. That night, I got level 9 farming, which unlocked some very important recipes. Then on day 71, I harvested my next batch of crops and forage, and in all the freed up spots went even more forage. With any leftover seeds, I made another 17 tea saplings. Then I saw Ian at the bus stop struggling with the delivery, so obviously I offered to help. Divide and conquer. I went to one location and Ian went to the other. Then I returned to the bus stop again to get Pam to drive me to the desert, because I wasn't going to let Sandy have a birthday without a flower from the valley. I picked up every piece of forage I could find, so I didn't come home empty-handed. Then I spent what was left of this day mining for iron. I woke up in a bigger house on day 72, and the first thing I did was move my bed back next to my door. Wait, how did Robin manage to change the bed whilst I was in it? I tried not to dwell on that disturbing revelation whilst I harvested my crops because today was the Stardew Valley Fair, and I had to get my head in the game for the Grange display competition. I chatted with some people whilst waiting for Lewis to do his judging, and look at how much the Ridgeside mod adds here. There are even food and drinks to buy. Getting around to every single villager had drained my social battery, but the news that I'd won with my Grange display gave me enough of an energy boost to gamble my way to victory so I could trade my tokens for a star drop and the rare crow I needed. On day 73, I received some basic fertilizer in the mail. I shipped it immediately because Jody really just sent me sap in a bag. I made and placed another 7 kegs and got another batch of coffee going, then realised I'd slowly been accumulating so many quests, so I wanted to use the day to cross some things off my to-do list. I handed the wrong child an iron bar, then I tried to hand him the bomb he asked for, but he dropped it on the floor next to him and it exploded. Thankfully, he wasn't hurt. We're just gonna have to pretend nothing happened and go and make another one. Here you go. Try not to drop this one, please. My next stop was to Yuma with an iron bar to fix a swing or something, then to nearby Ezekiel with a cave carrot, and on my way home I passed Pam at the bus stop with 2 pale ales. One for her quest and one as a gift. Though apparently, this was a bad day for all this because everyone I was talking to told me I smelt bad. I'm so embarrassed. With winter around the corner, I bought a couple of heaters from Marnie's as well as a milk pail because I didn't have one yet. Then I accepted a new special request for the week. Something about a crab problem in East Scarp, though to be honest I actually forgot about this request from this day onward. When I got home from a day of running around everywhere, I found I had some mead ready, so I took it over to the community centre to complete the brewer's bundle, and this is where you get the extra keg as a reward. Day 74 began with a rainy cranberry harvest. You know, in one of my last playthroughs, I talked about harvesting these before they were soggy, but then I found out from a comment that most cranberries are actually harvested wet. In fact, they flood the field and churn the water so the plants sort of move and all the little berries float to the top. Or something like that at least. I went to Marnie's as soon as she opened with a diamond for her birthday. I panicked for a moment when I saw her in a room, but then I tried the door and I could get in. I wonder how long I've been able to pick up Lewis's shorts without realising. Marnie somehow beat me home to ask me for a cave carrot for a goat. Then I trekked up to Robin's to buy an entire stack of wood, some of which went towards a coop upgrade. I then did the unthinkable. I simply gave back Lewis's shorts. I know, how dare I, but you know what? I couldn't be bothered with the drama. Back at home, I made my first mayo and cheese machines because I was starting to have a stock of animal products, and today was the day I milked these cows for the first time. But wading through all that long grass to get to the barn and the coop was starting to bother me, so I cut loads of it down to make room for a path. I also have no idea how it took me this long after the house upgrade, but I finally fried the egg I needed for the chef's bundle, which I took over there whilst it was still fresh. The reward for this bundle was some pink cake. Day 75 was a good luck day, so I geared up for Skull Caverns, but before whizzing off, I made sure to check the travelling merchant. Not quite sure why I bought the holly since winter wasn't all that far off. I topped up on supplies at the desert trader, then it was time to mine. I got my first prismatic shard this day, but I didn't leave right away. I carried on mining the entire day, but left with just enough time to exchange my rainbow rock with a galaxy sword. This should make my life so much easier. Looks like I also got my first bit of cloth because on day 76, Emily was here to tell me I could use her sewing machine, and I'm probably never going to use it. I took care of my animals before starting a batch of pumpkin juice, then took the cable car up to Ridgeside Village because today there was a big gathering. There were a couple of stalls with various items for sale, but it was this one I was most interested in because I was taking away another prismatic shard. I spoke to everyone for the friendship points and had a quick browse through the food and drink for sale at Pika's. Then it was time to enjoy some live music with the crowd. Except for me, it was more like live silence. On day 77, my coop upgrade was done, so I got my first dino egg incubating so we can have an unlimited supply. I harvested my first crops and forage and used what I got to make a bunch more wild seeds. Then it was over to Clint's to ask him to turn my pickaxe to gold. After smelting more iron by the mines, I emerged from the caves to see off all those bombs I made for Marlon, and he also told me I can buy other galaxy weapons from him after noticing I was carrying the galaxy sword. But for today, I was just here to sell off a few spare weapons. Being a Sunday, I traded my jades for staircases in the desert, and remembered to leave Sandy a flower whilst I was there. Today's birthdays were Robin's and Carmen's, and honestly, the birthdays alone were truly having me getting my steps in. For the night, I chopped down trees for tea saplings, which turned us in a good profit. On day 78, I finally remembered to collect the reward for returning Lewis's shorts. I had a load of forage to harvest, which got me to level 9. Then I bought some flour from Pierre's to take to the community centre with some milk to complete the home cook bundle. The reward though was some complete breakfast, which I wasn't all that thrilled about. I only had one set of crops left for the quality crops bundle. I had the choice of melons or parsnips, and now that I had the garden pot, I actually had a shot of doing this before the year was up. I planted a parsnip with some quality fertilizer in the house, and now I'll just have to remember to water this every day. I took a rainy stroll over to East Scarp where I found Eloise outside her barn, and she invited me in to see Jacob and meet all of their animals. He apologised about looking like a mess here, but I think he forgets I too am a farmer, so I'm always a mess too. It's just all part of this lifestyle. Side note though, those are some awesome gold alpacas they have. The reason I was actually in these parts was to fish for some eel, and I was hoping to catch more than one today, but I got bored of fishing before I could. But hey, the most important thing was that I could complete the night fishing bundle, which gave me a glow ring. Day 79 was another cranberry harvest, then I chilled out with the seed maker for a while to make some strawberry seeds for next year. That way I can start growing them from the first day of spring. I collected my new pickaxe from Clint's before finding Maddie with a gift in Ridgeside Valley, only for her to immediately brush me off and be rude to me. I still had a pumpkin to deliver to Caroline, then I took out my annoyance on something productive like smashing dust sprites and rocks for the evening. It was all worth it too because I hit level 10 mining. I chose the blacksmith profession, and from today's produce we made 12 grand. On day 80, I watered the lonely parsnip and was happy to see some pumpkin juice at the ready, most of which I shipped, but I did keep a few for gifts. George got a good quality leek for his birthday on my way to the museum because I had a few artifacts in my chest that needed donating. Then I made this a mines day again to hunt for the prismatic jelly, but I didn't get it today. On day 81, I harvested my sweet gemberry, which single-handedly leveled up my farming skill. I got a mail from Rosa about some extra spiritsy fun at 1 PM on the day. Looks like we'll be getting our pre-game on in East Scarp. Once I got my farm chores over with, I spent my whole day in the mines where I finally found that prismatic slime after nightfall and ran it all the way over to the wizard right away. I happily collected my gold and chose the artisan profession for level 10 farming. On day 82, I got my first gold quality parsnip and immediately replanted for another. I was ecstatic about the monster musk recipe I got in the mail, so we can consider this a celebratory eggplant harvest. Lunna was near the travelling cart, so I couldn't not give her a gift and say hello. Then I got to find out that the travelling merchant brought us absolutely nothing good this week. Then up at Ridgeside Village, I got this cutscene with Trini, who was doing great at tending to her plants and talking to them. I went to find Corin with a birthday gift, and NPC map locations really came in clutch here because honestly, I forgot who she was. I couldn't pass up the opportunity for another special request, so I went with the jacket design inspo one because I was intrigued, but when I checked what I actually needed to do, I found out it involved making clothes, so this one's a write-off for me because I'm not doing that. I came back to the farm to make 12 more kegs, and pretty soon I'm going to have to find a more permanent spot for these because we're soon going to outgrow this little area. I ran out of stuff I would usually keg, so I started on some hot pepper wine. Can't imagine how this would taste and I'm not sure I want to know. I cleared out my fruit cave, which for once had more than just forage. Then it was up to the mines again to slay 10 green slimes for Lola, and I smelted some gold whilst I was up there. I cut my way into the secret woods that night, intending to get the star drop, but I got distracted with chopping all the hardwood stumps, so we didn't have time for that. Day 83 had the last big pumpkin harvest of the season and the year. I did the little maze in the secret woods and successfully made it to the statue at the end with a sweet gemberry to get that star drop. On my way out, I checked this little entrance here to find where the deep wood starts. I've heard this mod could be pretty difficult, and I didn't quite feel ready yet, so I left it for now. When 1 PM rolled around, I wanted to try join the party in East Scarp, but as far as I was aware, I couldn't actually get there because the other festival was being set up in Pelican Town, which I needed to pass through. Maybe another year. At least Ridgeside Village was open, so I could handle Paula's birthday. I picked up a new quest from the board about a lost sword near a waterfall, so I checked by all the ones I could think of in this village, but I couldn't find it anywhere. Paired with some foraging there, this was enough to pass the time until the Spirit's Eve festival. The first thing I did there was buy the jack-o'-lantern recipe and the rarecrow. Then I took on my second maze of the day to get the golden pumpkin, and this time I didn't talk to every single NPC because I just didn't have the patience today. There are just so many of them. Lewis was waiting on my doorstep the next morning to talk about a very important task. The governor was sending his wife and son to stay nearby, and they'll be staying at the Scarp Inn from tomorrow. Apparently, it was up to me to make them feel welcome. Don't see how this is my job, but sure, I'll help. I grabbed all the last cranberries, then bought a caviar from the travelling cart to have one in easy reach for the missing bundle. I walked into Robin's to find her and Demetrius arguing about tomatoes, but I skipped that cutscene because I don't have time for that nonsense. Today was Susan's birthday, and I just wanted to give her this lovely chocolate cake and be on my way. I got this cutscene with Luna hanging out with Abigail, and it was really nice to see Luna integrating with the locals, but I couldn't help but notice I wasn't a part of any of this. How am I seeing this? Am I just like in a bush watching? Not quite sure what to make of it really. Anyway, since it was a good luck day, I wanted to give the deep woods a go when I noticed this glowing stone thing, but I chickened out of touching it. Let's just get into those woods. There were monsters absolutely everywhere, but I was happy to see I could pick up some flowers. Although because of the way the different colours don't stack, this was a problem for my loot goblin ways, because it meant I can't take it all home. And no, I'm not installing a mod for a bigger backpack, or I will be truly out of control. At some point though, I got a notice saying I got lost in the deep woods. Not sure what I did to cause this. Clearly, I have no idea what I'm doing with this particular mod, but I was enjoying exploring and gathering loot. Only problem was, somewhere along the way, I got overrun and died, and the most annoying loss of the night was all of my blackberries. Damn, what a way to end the season. Everything was covered in a blanket of snow on day 85, but even better was the sight of the last fish roll I needed for the community centre. I shipped off the next batch of juice and checked on my animals, where I was excited to find my first large eggs because we need these for the community centre. I left the farm to donate all these eggs when I saw this little shadowy figure who saw me and ran, followed by the arrival of the governor's wife and son who seemed to be waiting on Lewis. I stepped forward and introduced myself and said that Lewis asked me to meet them because he was busy today, but then suddenly he just comes sprinting in. Apparently he was unavoidably detained, which was weird, but anyway, it looked like my job here was done. I made my way to the community centre and picked up the magnifying glass from the bush on the way. Then I completed that fish farmer's bundle to collect the worm bin, but most importantly, the fish tank is now done. This is amazing because this was the one I was most worried about. I also completed the winter foraging bundle for some forage seeds, and with that, the crafts room was also complete. 2 rooms in one day. I'm happy with that level of achievement, and it's only just gone midday. I came home to plant my forage seeds and start a new lot of pumpkin juice. Then I thought winter is now the perfect time to make my first iridium sprinklers. These took me the rest of the evening to replace since I couldn't quite arrange them the way I wanted thanks to the forage I just planted. After running Jarek up a birthday gift on day 86, I did some foraging up by Ridgeside Village to top up my gift supplies. Then I made as many fibre seeds as I could till I ran out of clay. Even though these don't need watering, I still planted them around my sprinklers to hold the spots until I need them. I also moved my scarecrows around to make more sense with the new layout. With any remaining hours of the day, I fished at the beach for the squid, which I could conveniently give to Willy for his challenge whilst he was on his way back from the saloon. I even brought my sturgeons a souvenir from the beach. On day 87, Jarek appeared at my door early in the morning to be rude about me becoming a farmer, and to challenge me to a contest of who has the best farm. What the heck is he going on about? It is way too early for this. Good luck, cutie? I think I'm gonna throw up. I just completely ignored that start to my day and cleared up this path to Grandpa's shed. I ran out of energy when I got there, which reminded me I needed to ask Marlon to get my blackberries back for me. I got the copper pan this day, but obviously I skipped that cutscene because I just wanted to get to Linus with a cactus fruit for his birthday. It occurred to me that I'd not been up to the summit since it opened, so I popped up there to pick up all the forageables, making sure to check behind this tree here. Then I came home to carry on clearing the area around the shed. I did want to recover my energy from the hot spring I remembered from my first playthrough, but I didn't know it wouldn't be open yet, so instead I had a munch on some nasty field snacks. This reminded me there are better offerings at the saloon. And no, I don't mean Marnie. I was here to buy the recipes from Gus as well as 25 salads for energy and health when I need them, and that energy was used to chop down trees in Cindersap Forest for Robin's resource rush, which I completed at nearly 1 AM. On day 88 I got my blackberries back in the mail. This is perfect timing for a good luck day because I always take these with me to Skull Caverns. This was a slightly more successful day for this playthrough. I found some treasure, loads of iridium, and even another prizzy, and I passed out for the night on floor 77 having reached level 9 combat. On day 89 I collected my hot pepper wine, and to be honest this was barely worth a week's wait. I checked the travelling merchant's wares but all she was selling was disappointment, but then the pumpkin juice being ready quickly perked up my mood. I grabbed the forage in Ridgeside Village, which I was visiting because today was Blair's birthday, but when I checked the map again I found out she was down at the pier in Pelican Town. Considering one of her loved gifts was a carp, I should have known she'd have been down here fishing. From there, I called in at the Adventurers Guild to sell off a ring and a weapon, but I also bought both the recipes too so I don't have to worry about these later. I came home to find the dino had hatched and I called the new arrival Remy. Then I cut down loads of grass for hay, but also because I wanted to start placing paths and making the farm look a bit more put together. On day 90, I harvested and replanted another high quality house parsnip, then continued with the pathing. Marnie was now selling auto grabbers, so I bought a couple so that I don't have to milk the cows anymore because I was definitely forgetting to do this some days. I asked Robin to upgrade my barn for me, then donated a few more artifacts to the museum for a couple of rewards. That evening, I was happy to see some more trees had popped up by my greenhouse with the rate I was going through wood because I really wanted to get the farm all pathed up before the end of the year. But for the moment, I was going to have to wait for some more crops to grow out to finish the job. On day 91, Pierre stopped by to tell me he'll be selling more varieties of seeds next year. He also warned me off buying from his competitors, and not gonna lie, I kind of forgot Jojo Mart existed again until he said that. Not that I even want to shop there. I laid any paths I didn't have time for the night before, then I checked the travelling cart, though at this point she never really has anything I need. I foraged a little in the secret woods, then I stopped in at Pierre's where I got a cutscene with Yuma who asked if he could skip ahead since he was in a hurry. I agree with Pierre, he's just always so busy and we never see him playing with any other kids. Maybe we'll find out more about his situation in the future. I wasn't here to buy anything today, I just wanted to give Caroline a birthday gift. Then I ran home to get a few more iridium sprinklers down. I recently got the stepping stone recipe from Robin, so I replaced some of these paths because I prefer how they look when they're mixed. I also extended them around my chest too. No idea why I didn't do this before, but apparently at some point that evening, I accidentally shipped off my leftover paths. What? What did I do that for? On day 92, my first batch of winter forage was ready to go, so now I can get more sprinklers occupied. Today is the Festival of Ice. I talked to some villagers, but not all of them because there are just way too many. I felt prepared for the fishing competition because I usually do really well at this, but I zoned out for the first couple of seconds and it actually cost me the win. No! I guess I did zone out for the first few seconds. Day 93 began with a new batch of pumpkin juice and some animal care before wanting to buy more animals from Marnie, but I forgot it was a Tuesday and she left when I got there. Instead, I harvested all of my fibre, but ran out of clay again before I could make enough seeds to replant. To remedy this, I tried to clay farm, but I'm not very good at it, and I can only really remember the first row, but I did manage to make a few more fibre seeds. I ran out of mixed seeds this time, so I spent the rest of the day trying to get more. On day 94, I got some fibre seeds planted and annoyingly, I was only a few off the amount I needed, so I clay farmed badly for a bit, then chopped down a couple more farm trees. This lined time up nicely for Sebastian leaving his room to give him a birthday gift. Then I bought a bunch more wood because it's gonna cost double next year. Coming back through town, I picked up a new special request, and of course I went with the juicy bugs one because how the heck am I gonna grow 25 gold star vegetables this season, Pierre? I didn't start on that yet though, instead opting to gather forage and hardwood in the secret woods. On day 95, I walked off to Skull Caverns for this max luck day. I brought the 2 prismatic shards with me from home because if I get a third today, I'll be able to trade for a magic rock candy, a risk I was willing to take. I hit a couple of treasure floors this day and got my first slime egg. Not sure if I'm going to build a slime hutch though. It was looking like I was on track for floor 100, but then this happened. I had about a third of my health and I was about to jump down a hole. I stopped for a drink whilst paused before I made the jump, but as I did, the mummies hit me and I died. Wait, what? How? Huh? I really didn't think this was a thing that could happen. At least I didn't lose that much. The silver lining this day was that I did get a third prismatic shard, so I went back to the desert for a magic rock candy for a future trip, and I got several more warp totems while I was there. On day 96, I got a mail from the wizard asking for a void essence, so after a couple more farm chores, I took one straight over to him, only to be banished from his presence. I bought my first 2 goats from Marnie's called Wally and Mirabelle, and also a single duck who you can probably guess I called Donald. I was introduced to Alessio at the Adventurers Guild when I stopped in there to ask Marlon to recover my spicy eel. Then I wandered around town having a good old chat on the way back to my farm where I crafted 30 more tea saplings to sell. Armed with some monster musk, I thought I'd better get started on that juicy bugs quest, so that kept me busy through the evening and the night. Day 97 and it was time for a new batch of juice. Now that we have more animals, they'll need feeding more frequently, so I asked Robin to upgrade to a deluxe coop which will come with an auto feeder. With over 100 bug meat at home, I dropped off what Willy needed, so now I only have to worry about slaying the rest of the bugs for the quest. I made sure to take care of that right away, but I also slashed through any fibre in the hopes of getting more mix seeds. I got done with that by the evening, then remembered I'd not been to the quarry since the bridge got repaired, which meant I still hadn't collected the golden scythe. I used the statue to teleport my way out of there, and opted to skip that cutscene with Linus so I could get home to bed. On day 98, I harvested the 5th and final gold parsnip I needed for the community centre. I took a pointless trip to the travelling cart before adding those parsnips to the quality crops bundle to complete it. The reward was another preserves jar, and now all we have left was the animal bundle for the pantry. I brought Harvey a coffee for his birthday, then got Clint to open all of my geodes. I got to make several donations to the museum today, which got me a couple of rewards that I didn't particularly care about. My next stop was to the desert to do the Sunday Jade Staircase trade, then I took a walk into the forest to give Luna a gift. I planted some more fiber seeds, got some more bars smelting, then gave myself a super early night. I had another lot of forage ready on day 99, so I got to plant up every iridium sprinkler spot. I bought some more coal from Clint because I couldn't be bothered to farm for it today since I needed more gold for iridium sprinklers, except I proceeded to spend my afternoon coal farming. What was I thinking? Actually, I think I do know what I was doing. I think I was killing these to make progress with the Monster Slayer goal, and I planned to pass out here, but then I was reminded of the night market. I grabbed my free coffee down there and checked the merchant's boat where I found a battery I needed for those sprinklers, as well as an apple sapling. I know I can get these from Pierre's, but I guarantee I'll forget if I don't get it now, and this one's the same price anyway. It took me a couple of attempts, but I correctly guessed the code for the mermaid show pearl. Then I grabbed a special request for the new week on my way home, and I went with the bone fragment one to avoid the extra fishing. On day 100, I took a flower up to Louis at the mansion in Ridgeside Village, but then he told me right after that I smell. This seems to happen frequently after I give out birthday gifts, though to be fair, I do have a lot of birthdays to deal with. These Stardew houses really need to get some bathrooms. I didn't get the cable car till I did some foraging, then I came home to make some more cheese machines. I paved over my little animal product area to spice it up a bit. I even added some fences, and I think this looks much better. After grabbing my free coffee from the night market, I thought I'd better do some submarine fishing because I needed to catch the midnight squid, the blobfish, and the spookfish, but I fished all the way out till 2 AM to work on my fishing level. On day 101, I set off some hot pepper wine because we ran out of pumpkins and this was better than nothing. The wizard got a purple mushroom for his birthday, and I got the gift of a rare smile. Then it was over to Clint to collect my iridium pickaxe, which I completely forgot I sent for upgrade. I gave him an iron bar for a quest whilst I was there, then I got out of that place as quick as I could because I would rather spend my time being terrified by this bear in the secret woods. I brought him the maple syrup that he asked for, and in exchange I got his secret knowledge, which makes berries more valuable. Absolutely useless, but I'd rather be on the good side of a frickin' bear. I dug up all the dig spots whilst I was there, but I did have to go home and collect my axe so I could go back and gather all the hardwood. For the last night at the winter market, I bought the third painting. Oh, I have bought the other two, by the way. Then I bought a duck egg from the travelling merchant, which I hurried over to the community centre to complete the animal bundle. This got me another cheese press. I don't care about that though because I just completed the pantry. Our only items left here now are a duck feather, some apples, and a rabbit's foot, but I cannot describe how happy I was to see the Junimos repairing the greenhouse that night. On top of that, I hit level 10 foraging, picking the botanist profession, and we made a decent amount of gold. On day 102, I used some of my spare quality sprinklers to start setting up the greenhouse so I could get my first 8 agencies planted. I dropped a birthday gift up to Freddy, then I realised I hadn't collected a single bone fragment this week, so I should probably work on that. I did forget to bring any monster musk, but I couldn't be bothered to go home and get some, so I just did without it this day. But I also took a quick break that evening to sell off the silly amount of bone swords I'd accumulated. I passed out that night with 101 bone frags. Nobody can accuse me of not going the extra mile. On day 103, I bought another battery from the travelling cart before dealing with the next set of forage. Our crop area is expanding slowly but surely. I spontaneously decided to give the deep woods another go today, and then promptly chickened out. Instead, I asked Robin to build a stable so we can get around all these map expansions faster. Then I gave Marlon some corn for his birthday since I didn't have any loved gifts I was willing to part with. I came home to realise I didn't have any pine tar, so I used those tree tappers from the community centre to set them up in Cindersap Forest, and for the evening I added more to the paths. On day 104, I shipped off some of the excess cranberries because there was no way I was getting around to processing all of these. I went into the Milner's house when they unlocked their door, but I seemed to have walked into a doctor's visit. George wasn't happy with the advice he was getting and asked me for a second opinion, so I told him he should really listen to the medical professional since I'm just a little old farmer. George begrudgingly agreed, which was a relief because I could now tend to the purpose of my visit, which was to give Evelyn a birthday gift. She was so happy with her gift that she gave me her secret cookie recipe. Back on the farm, I tried to use my axe to destroy these bushes. I do have the destroyable bushes mod, but I guess these don't count, so I'm really gonna have to find a fix for this clipping. I took a trip to the quarry to clear out any valuable nodes, and one of these mystic stones here dropped me a prismatic shard. Now that's a win. I actually used this one to donate to the museum, which reminded me I still had to give Gunther those bone fragments. That would have been funny if the quest just expired just because I'd forgot to hand it in. I bumped into Rosa and Scarp, who was looking after Eloise for the day, when she seemed to have snuck off. It took Rosa a minute to realise she was no longer there, so we went to look for her when we heard her calling out. Thankfully, she hadn't been eaten by pelicans. We found her safe by this broken bridge. I wonder what this area is. It doesn't seem like we're going to find out today. I collected all the forage on the ground in East Scarp before going to find the place from the cutscene, but I still couldn't figure out accessing this place, and it had kind of a creepy vibe, so I left it to find Jacob, who was looking for a cat. There wasn't any sign of her, but he asked me if I'd been here before, and honestly, no. This actually used to be a farm, but the land is now disused. I wonder if this is something we have access to use in the future. I mean, at the very least, I'm probably going to take the materials. And hey look, Princess Midnight has materialized from nowhere, safe and sound. I went to have a closer look at the door, but it was locked. Cute little house though. In exploring the area, I found what looked like little void goats, and they're so cute, even if they are a little scary. Eventually, I reached what looked like an entrance to a cave or a mine I can't access. The description, also terrifying, so I backtracked to this minecart to get back home. On day 105, I was delighted to see Gunther was now free from the confines of his desk, so hopefully we'll be seeing more of him around town. After axing some hardwood in the secret woods, I found Pika up in Ridgeside Village with a birthday gift. Then I was back in lumberjack mode, but for regular wood this time. I used that wood to make 11 more kegs before taking the cable car again for a bit of ridgeside fishing for the rest of the day. Evelyn stopped by with the garden pot and its recipe on day 106, and I received an enormous 40 grand for my contributions to the museum. My focus for the morning was harvesting and replanting the forage that came to fruition, and even though the next batch won't have time to grow, it will save the sprinkler spots for me because there was no way I was getting enough fibre seeds in time. Plus those wouldn't be ready to cut down on the first day of next year anyway. I cleared out my fruit cave, then brought some hardwood to Robin for a project, which got me the networking achievement. For this week's special request, I went with Gus's famous omelette, as the auto-grabbers should make this super easy. Then I paid a quick visit to Sophia's ledger because I felt like buying some aged Blue Moon wine, which if you didn't know, it gives +7 luck, and that's why it's so ridiculously priced. Once I'd replaced Robin's hardwood with more from the secret woods, I turned the starfruit I saved into seeds so I can plant these in the greenhouse. I definitely forgot I could just buy these from Sandy in this playthrough. My evening was spent making even more seeds by turning common mushrooms into full seeds ready for tea saplings. Day 107 began with another batch of forage to turn over. Then I spent a good portion of the day smashing dust sprites with monster musk because today was the day I wanted to complete that monster slayer goal for the burglaring. I collected the rewards from the other goals I'd met too, and sold off the bug sword immediately because ew. I decided to go to the saloon that night, but mainly because it's Leah's birthday, and this was an easy place to find her and give her a salad. And whilst I was there, I made sure to say hi to everyone, and pick up even more salads for myself. Then, when I got home, I saw that all my pepper wine was ready, so I scraped together whatever I could find to refill the kegs. To end my day, I carried on killing dust sprites with my burglaring to make use of the remaining time on that monster musk. Day 108 was for a Skull Caverns run, and I'll be combining a magic rock candy with that aged Blue Moon wine for a massive +12 boost to my luck. Even then, I didn't get that many treasure rooms, but I did manage to get the lucky ring from a crate. I put that thing straight on. I'll just have to deal without the magnetism for now. I also made it to floor 100 where I met Mr. Key, who was impressed that I made it down here the honourable way instead of using a ton of staircases. I had to drink that revolting iridium snake milk, but we'll be a little bit more death-proof now. The rest of this run went off without a hitch, and I passed out on floor 118 with almost 300 iridium ore, having hit level 10 combat, so I chose the brute profession. On day 109, I put away all of my loot, including 2 more prismatic shards. I got another 3 iridium sprinklers down, which I sacrificed some forage seeds for. Then it was time for the Feast of the Winter Star. The first person I spoke to was Eloise, who wished me a happy winter star with a duck feather. How sweet! But also, this is huge because we really needed this for the community centre. Given the day, I made the effort to wish everyone a happy holidays. Then I eventually got around to giving my secret friend Emily her gift of an aquamarine, which went down a treat. My gift giver this year was Shiro, who you can tell doesn't really know me very well because he got me wine. It's the thought that counts at the end of the day. On day 110, I finally remembered that I now have a horse, and an amazing looking one at that, who I decided to name Prizzy, like Prismatic Shard. I collected up my caviar and started some jam before replacing any ready forage with seeds. Then I took a fleeting trip to Clint's to drop off an amethyst for his birthday. I had another birthday to tend to in Ridgeside Village, but first I got to test out a new dish at Pika's. I gave Shanice her birthday gift and she let me know the store will be closed tomorrow. Not that I ever shop round here. Then I discovered the best little detail ever. You can actually see your horse riding the cable car with you. I can't, this is just so cute. I gave Emily an amethyst that was meant to be from Clint, but she didn't seem to understand, so I'll happily take the credit. Though what she didn't know is that they now have matching stones. To finish with my errand run, I handled Gus's albacore, then I bought one of each sapling from Pierre's to set up in my greenhouse. As it started to get dark, I rode Prizzy over to the saloon for the second time today, where I was given a cocktail on the house specially made by Emily. I went for the Big Bang just because it sounded cool, but apparently it was going to be pretty strong, so obviously I chugged it all in one, and to be fair, it was pretty amazing. The real reason I was here was to drop off the eggs for that omelette, so now all I have to do is take any new ones out of the auto grabber to complete the quest, but since the place was bustling, I'll hang out for a while. It was Friday night after all. On day 111, I surprised Sophia with a fairy rose for her birthday when she told me she was out of snacks. On your birthday as well? That's painful. I pocketed all the beach forage for the last time this season, then I picked up Prizzy from home to take me to the community centre. You see, I forgot to donate that duck feather from the Winter Star Festival till today, and my prize for that was a loom. The travelling cart and the serpents hadn't given me any rabbit's feet yet, so I thought it was time to get some rabbits of my own. The names will be Elsa and Anna. I gave Andy and Lunna some blackberries as they were nearby, then it was over to Robin's to ask her for the final barn upgrade so these animals can automatically be fed too. For my second to last evening, I pretty much just chopped wood with a little summit foraging break in between. On day 112, the travelling merchant brought me a New Year's Eve gift of a battery. Alright, fine, it wasn't so much of a gift since I did pay for it, but I was just as happy. I immediately used that battery to get down another iridium sprinkler, and now this field is so close to being full. Then, Prizzy and I took the cable car up to Ridgeside Village to give Shiro a crystal fruit for his birthday. Passing through the village, I realised I've been neglecting the special request board here, so I picked the bug state request because it was the option that wasn't due tomorrow. Coming back to the farm, I realised I never fully finished laying the paths, and when I went to handle the backwards exit, I somehow placed this extra piece which I can either pick up or place any either side of it. I ended up having to give up on fixing this, but in hindsight, I probably should have just tried a bomb or something. As for the rest of the paths, I was happy with them for now, so I made a few more furnaces and pet all of my animals, then waited up at Ridgeside Village for the Ember of Resolutions to begin, which was kinda like a huge New Year's bonfire gathering. You can really see the sheer volume of people when they all stand together like this. Looking back, we achieved a good amount this year, but this festival got me thinking about what I want from next year, so my 3 main resolutions will be to actually finish the community centre, get at least 2 obelisks, and get married. Lenny set all the wood ablaze, and looking at the size of this fire, I'm really glad they've done this super far away from the village. Oh my goodness. That meant I got to go to bed for the final time this year reeking of bonfire smoke. What a first year we've had so far. I was really hoping to finish the community centre this year, and we got so close, but I know we'll have it next year for sure. I can't wait to hear about all the new stories from all of our new friends everywhere, and I think we have some secrets to discover too. Let me know in the comments who your favourite modded NPC is. But to be fair to you, I don't feel like I can even pick. Please leave a like if you made it this far, and subscribe for more 100 days content. We really are building up a library now. Thank you so much to my channel members, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!